Some loves arrive not with a shout, but with the gentlest whisper. They slip quietly into our lives, unexpected, uninvited, and yet, once they appear, they cannot be undone. It begins like the flicker of a candle in a dark room, barely noticeable at first. A small flame trembling against the weight of the night. But slowly, it grows brighter, warmer, stronger, until you cannot imagine the darkness without it. That is how it was. Two men, two souls caught inside a world that told them to be silent. Two hearts daring to speak in a place where love had no name. One was a young soldier, restless and uncertain, his future as foggy as the mist rising from the fields at dawn. The other an Air Force pilot, confident, magnetic, his presence like a star cutting through the heavy sky. They were never meant to find each other. And yet, destiny has a way of bending rules, of crossing paths that were meant to remain parallel. And when their eyes met just once, just long enough, the universe shifted. Subtly, quietly, but forever. This is not merely a story. It is a memory, whispered through time. A secret carried in silence. A love that bloomed in shadows, but glowed brighter than the Sunday. He was just another face in uniform. Young, tired, counting days like coins in a jar, waiting for the moment when the world outside would open its doors again. The barracks were filled with routine. Boots lined in perfect rows, orders shouted in cold voices, the endless rhythm of duty pressing down like iron. And then, he arrived. A new presence. An officer who didn't just walk into the room. He seemed to command the air itself. The pilot. A man with laughter that felt rare, and eyes that seemed to search deeper than most would dare. The first meeting was simple. Nothing dramatic. A borrowed camera. A question about film. A casual moment so ordinary that no one else would have noticed. But he noticed the way the air felt different. The way time slowed, as if the universe was giving them a single, fragile pause. It started as friendship. That was the safe word for it. Friendship. Late-night conversations under the stars, sharing cigarettes, trading stories of dreams. That felt too delicate to speak in daylight. There were no grand declarations then, just small silences, moments when neither of them spoke, but both of them knew. Sometimes love begins not with words, but with the ache of unsaid things. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, that friendship began to change. A hand that lingered too long on the shoulder, a glance that refused to look away. An invisible line crossed quietly, with no one else in the world watching, but everything inside them trembling. It happened quietly. Like so many beginnings, it was wrapped in silence. A brush of fingers, a shoulder leaning just a little too close, a spark so small, and yet so dangerous, that both of them froze, half terrified, half alive. Then, a kiss, not a loud, desperate kiss, but one that trembled with fear and relief. A kiss that asked, "Are we allowed?" and answered, "We must." From that moment, their world was no longer the same. Every touch carried weight. Every meeting was charged with possibility and risk. Every smile felt both like a rebellion and a salvation. They built their own secret universe, crafted from stolen hours and whispered promises. There were letters, folded carefully, their ink hiding words too dangerous to speak aloud. There were looks exchanged across crowded rooms, where eyes did the work that voices could not. There were weekends that felt like lifetimes, moments where the outside world vanished, and it was just them. Two men, two lovers, two souls refusing to be erased. Love has a way of making time elastic. Minutes stretch into hours, hours collapse into heartbeats. And in that secret universe, They lived a lifetime between each goodbye. But love, when forbidden, always carries shadows. Every kiss was followed by fear. Every embrace carried the question, what if we are discovered? And still, they held on. Because love, once it blooms, does not return to silence. Their love became their refuge. The world outside was filled with rules, but in their private world, there were none. They spoke of dreams, of homes with sunlight and books, of photographs lining the walls, of laughter that needed no permission. They dared to imagine a life where their hands could intertwine freely, where their voices could rise without fear of being heard. But reality pressed down like a storm cloud. The military was a shadow that followed them everywhere. Tradition was a chain around their throats. Duty demanded silence. And silence became a weight heavier than steel. Still, they clung to each other. Because when love is real, it is not a choice. It is a necessity. Like air, like water. Every moment together was fragile, yet it glowed with intensity. A glance across a room, a secret meeting at dusk, a stolen laugh, cut short before it grew too loud. Each moment was proof that love existed, that they were alive, that even in a world built to deny them, their hearts refused to surrender. And yet, the more love grows, the more visible it becomes. What began as a whisper threatened to become a roar, and the world was listening. This was never just a romance. It was a fight for existence. It was about courage. The courage to feel in a world that demanded silence. It was about longing for freedom, for authenticity, for the right to hold the one you love without shame. It was about queer joy, queer heartbreak, and the resilience that blossoms, even in the darkest of places. And above all, it was about memory, because some loves never fade. They remain carved into the soul, etched into the bones, echoing long after the world has moved on. Love can endure many storms, but fear corrodes slowly, like rust on iron. Rumors spread, suspicion grew. What was once their shield of silence began to crack. The walls that once kept them safe, now pressed in tighter, narrower, until breathing itself felt dangerous. The pressure became unbearable. One of them faced an impossible choice: to love openly and risk losing everything, or to let go and cling to safety. And then everything shifted. A decision made in desperation. A betrayal born not of cruelty, but of terror. Hearts splintered. The future they dreamed of, a home, a life, a freedom together, was suddenly torn apart. And love was left suspended, not broken, not gone, but trapped between memory and loss. Love, in its truest form, is fragile, yet unshakable. It is a secret that survives even time itself. It lingers in memory. It breathes in silence. It whispers across years. This story may belong to the past, but its echo belongs to all of us. Because love, no matter how forbidden, no matter how fragile, is always worth remembering. If this memory touched you, let it linger in your heart. Share your thoughts, stay with us, and keep the story alive.